to I can say to the you push yourself to the farthest you can as a man always. I've seen it work and it will work, and for your lady to do anything or chip in here and there, it should be voluntarily, like not
out of 10. What is the percentage? What is the figure for a man to provide in that family?
Out of 10.
Yeah.
10 if the woman wants to do something well and good. If she doesn't, it's fine.
Welcome back to Mental Wealth Podcasts, brought to you by DMW and of course
Lillian,
Her Highness. We are glad you have joined us today. Today is an amazing session we are having here. We have heard a lot about masculinity. Many people championing for masculinity today, and at times it is confused with patriarchy. We don't know whether masculinity and patriarchy ride on the same lane or these are two different things. But Lillian, I'm sure you'd also like to know much about masculinity. Is this something that you're looking forward to, ama hii ni topic yenye tu inakaa tatu kuje venye nakuja?
Mbona unaniuliza hiyo swali, put me on the spot? And you know, if I had a choice, I'd be out of here. But I'm happy to learn. I am happy to hear your perspectives. I see we have very interesting guests here.
Yeah.
I am happy to hear your perspectives about masculinity, your experiences as men. So, yeah, here to ask questions as well.
Asante. So, without going further, allow me to welcome our two guests. One is not too familiar on this platform. What I'll introduce, and then, of course, MC the Chinaman. My brother, unaweza introduce?
Mimi maya.
Wewe.
Yeah, so I'd love just to say Alex Oburu. I'm really passionate about a lot of stuff, beginning with masculinity, and it's a pleasure to be here today.
We are a masculine man.
Yeah, I can feel my masculinity energy vibrating.
Okay.
What? Hey.
Oh yes, thank you very much once again.
Uh-huh.
John Moisio Musila, Chinaman, the MC is me.
Wow.
Thank you very much. We are honored
We're honored to have
to have
masculine
you
men.
both.
Yeah.
We are honored that masculinity has graced our set today.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have my first question to all of you, including Derek. We are here to discuss masculinity, and I have personally been interested to see the narrative change towards masculinity, because a lot of negative things have been said, and there's a lot of negativity and negative perception about masculinity. So I would like each of you to give a positive attribute about you as a masculine person, or how a masculine person has contributed to your life.
Alex.
Yeah, it's like I always have answers for everything. Now, beginning with a person who was championed, or rather molded me to be a masculine man, I'd give high five on let's just leave it at high five to my dad, my pops, like, hey, in case askie this podcast, it will be nice, for making me understand that the world is not really fair, and I have to struggle and fight and make sure that I do everything possible, but also considering other people to ensure I have everything that I focus or rather put my eyes on. So for instance, growing up, we used to have those childhood squabbles, and you're beaten with your friends, and you go back home and be like, hey pops, so and so maybe took my bike or something, or you know, kuchapwa tu nilikuwa na bike.
Nilikuwa cool kid kama ulikuwa na bike.
So then dad anakuambia you go back and fight, you know, you're a man. So from those times ulikuwa unajua tu you have to like do something, and I have grown up knowing that either way, if worse get worse, I have to fight with everything that I have, not in a bad way.
You are a fighter, masculine fighter.
So masculinity is just about fighting.
You're fighting for better, fighting for change, fighting for your
standing.
space.
So that Lillian doesn't quote us out of context
Yes.
and doesn't blow this conversation out of proportion.
No.
She asked us to say something positive about masculinity.
Yes.
And I will go deep into history and I will bring you into the light of religion. That all the holy books have written men as the head of the institutions, head of family institution, head of that, head of that. You cannot be the head and show no direction. You must have that sense of purpose, sense of direction, something that is inbuilt in you, that you always yearning for better, wanting good. And that is exactly what is masculinity. For you to be a man, for you to lead, you must show those good qualities of being a leader. And so when you're asking about any positive thing about masculinity, then is the sense of self-drive, the sense of passion in winning, the sense of wanting to not necessarily outshine people, but shine on people or in people. You know, that essence of being there and doing the most so that you can influence people's lives, influence your own life, is exactly what we are here to speak about. Masculinity.
Masculinity.
What I really clarify, you all have started shouting at me. I'm here as an ally. I'm not here to argue.
No, we are not shouting. I guess it's just the masculine vibe and energy.
The masculine
aura,
vibe is
The vibe.
It's calm.
The
It's
oomph.
calm. It is calm. That
You know, the stamina. Anyway, you have asked us to say something positive about masculinity.
Not very
Well, masculinity is positive itself. You don't need to add a verb or an adverb to the term masculinity for it to be positive.
There's toxic masculinity though.
We will discuss about it and whether it is true and whether those people stand for masculinity or they stand for a totally confused agenda.
No, plus again, it depends with what eye you're looking at it from.
Exactly.
If you're looking on it from the eye of somebody who feels already threatened, you think it is toxic.
Nobody
But
feels
this-
threatened. You see?
No, I mean, I didn't say Lillian, you feel threatened. Remember, we're the majority in this room and we can intimidate. But we're not in that line.
Don't try me. Hata kwa mangu
we
Don't try
we
me.
did not come here for that. We came here to just shed light on masculinity and how it is helped to improve our societies and how much better we can ensure the younger generation that is coming after us and even the older one continues to practice proper masculinity.
Yeah.
And like we are saying, we have nothing about adding adverbs and adjectives on it. It is exactly what it is. Masculinity. The qualities, the attributes, the characteristics of being a man.
Yeah. They say being a man is not having beards because even he goats have beards and they're not called men. It is beyond that. So for me, masculinity is positivity. Masculinity is leadership. Masculinity is purpose. Masculinity is challenge. Masculinity is order in the community. Masculinity to me means headed the right direction, particularly for an individual, for a community, and for a country. That is what masculinity means to me.
Beautiful. So I like the direction and the fact that we're all positive and we're saying masculinity is this and this and this, which is true, but we also have to agree that there are instances where masculinity has been used negatively.
Maybe that's not masculinity.
You can help us.
With an example.
Let's use, I didn't want to use this example, but when we're talking about something like GBV, in most cases, those are cases of masculinity used in a wrong way, right?
No.
Uh-huh.
I'd love to take this one first because we all know that men are stronger than women. We have to agree that most men are stronger than women. And the fact that you go back and maybe pounce on your wife has a lot of stuff or says a lot of stuff about you. Number one, someone who beats the wife, they're really sick in the head, one. And they're also weak. Because the same guy akiekwa in a field or in a place where he can fight men, a few ndo watapigana. So wanachukua the fact that this woman cannot maybe fight me or this woman is overly dependent on everything that I provide. So no matter what I do, they will still be here. Masculinity will address the issue in the room, like what is wrong. You cheated, you go home. We don't negotiate about that.
You do not negotiate
We
cheating.
do not negotiate cheating. What did you do? Maybe you didn't cook today. What happened? What were you doing?
There's something interesting you're bringing. We will bring it later on. I know Lillian is interested to know. You didn't cook. Who is we didn't cook?
You is the wife who didn't cook.
Oh,
So,
okay.
for instance, if the wife did something wrong, we have to address that, and we have procedures on addressing everything. And if if it comes to the end of it, you cannot resolve it, you have to take her back to her dad or something. But I do not believe in beating wives. I do not believe in violence, because we can always talk things out and we can always discuss. If you feel the last thing you can do is beating a wife, it's wrong, but also depends with the concept, because whatever Lilian shared inaweza kuwa danger of one side story. Inaweza kuwa the wife alipigwa juu alikuwa ameshika kisu anataka kumdunga, unaona. So we also need to like check the story, dissect
Okay,
it,
sawa.
Allow me to
Alex.
come in before you go in, because there are a few things I need to put straight on this story is saying here. The one, me and you know very well that GBV has nothing to do with masculinity.
But
GBV, allow me
we
to
started
say,
by saying masculinity, men are stronger. So part of masculinity is strength.
and
That
this
is
is
one attribute
yeah.
of masculinity,
No,
right?
this is what I'm
from
about
my
to
end,
say.
I would say, yeah, like you need to work on your physique as a man. You need
Yeah,
to
so
ensure
there's
that
strength
there's strength
that
not
is
to beat
used
women, not
exactly.
not
So that
to beat
strength
women.
is when it's used against when it's used
Remember,
negatively. It's still masculinity being used negatively.
no,
So-
it's not being.
Alex,
Allow
hold
me
it
just
there.
a minute.
Just hold it there. We'll
Okay.
get into that, because I presume that mental wealth podcast has some sense of direction.
Yeah,
It has never turned chaotic.
yeah.
So we just want to keep that order, and that is exactly what masculinity is. That we love order, and order must always reign supreme. So I was about to say just a few words, and especially on GBV. I and Lillian know very well that we do not condone in any level any form of GBV.
Yeah.
I do not. I will never. Now, masculinity tells me that I have, and I will keep referring to this definition, a sense of purpose. That this is where we want to go, even as a family, and this is the direction we're going to take. What is a contributor of GBV is power struggles and nothing to do with masculinity. If the man feels their space is threatened and they still want to show that boundary, that is then when they cross and turn violent to maintain their power in their houses. Most of the times, again, women also want to have the power, and that is exactly what it is. We're not going to talk into GBV. We're going to maintain here that we condone GBV, and masculinity has nothing in any GBV case. The only thing I will say is a person who has a purpose, whether in marriage or not, in a relationship or not, will always respect the other person, because they know their purpose is higher than turning violent and harming other people and hurting other people. So even if you're masculine, and I mean by muscle power, and you have all the strength on earth, you will put it to positive vibe, to constructive things, not destructive.
That's very good on paper. I don't think that's reality.
This is the reality now.
Well, I
It's
don't
not.
know.
You
See,
called
we
us here.
We
Let
live
me-
in the communities. It's not.
But
Well, it
I
is true.
think
It is.
Lilian
It is.
attacking.
It is true.
It's
We live.
not.
It is
Some of his fear, Alex Akiongea, sounds like very beautiful theory.
Listen.
You
Listen.
solve. You put structure.
Lillian.
You send her back to her dad.
By the end of this podcast, we will have brought order to the society.
I hope
One, the words I've used when you asked us to say something about masculinity is that masculinity brings order. That being a man or being masculine is not defined by having particular attributes that the normal ordinary person will say you have. It doesn't mean if a man, or it doesn't mean men, all men are masculine. We have men who are soy men. They are, white knights. mama's
So
boys,
anyone
and
that
all
doesn't
that
that,
stuff.
that doesn't tick these boxes is not masculine.
It is a red flag. They are not masculine. They were probably brought up by a single mother or a single father who was a weak man, who did not train them to be masculine, to know that their duty is to protect children and women, their duty is to always there to provide, and all this. Therefore, anything related to gender-based violence, it is true people disagree in a home, but a masculine man has a better way of solving issues in their homes, and raising their hands towards another person, specifically their women, is not one of the options, and it's something we do not support, not today, not tomorrow. Therefore, any man outside there who is using their force to get their women, it's either because of their culture, which is archaic, or they are weak and they're just not masculine men. Yeah, they represent other facts, not our gender. Yeah. Maybe the next question I'll ask, or Leon, you can go ahead and ask, is Alex was talking about she has not cooked. That can brought chaos. She has not done. So, what is the role of a woman in a masculine man?
I'd love to begin this with the role of a man, so that we do not or maybe it will not bring order from your end. Is it okay?
Feel free.
Okay, so I have always spoke about this, and also a very good follower, or rather, not like more of a very good follower of also American and also other masculine guys on Twitter and here and there, and also physically, like I have a friend called Derek Were. He's a masculine man, and I love hanging around strong men. So a man, you have 4 jobs, or rather 4 things you're supposed to carry out. Number 1 is to always protect, and it's why I kind of brought the aspect of ensure that you're also good in terms of physique. You're not like just fat and there's nothing you're doing about it. Proceed, always give direction and guide and lead. You're also supposed to provide. That is why we were tasked with the duty of ensuring that there's a house, there's food, maybe kids get education, whether formal or informal, and also lastly to penetrate with power. And I want to dwell there because maybe if you do not have a wife or you don't have a girlfriend, it doesn't count. So, and also on all
so
this,
I would kurudisha hapo kwa provide to what extent?
to I can say to the you push yourself to the farthest you can as a man. Always, I have seen it work and it will work. And for your lady to do anything or chip in here and there, it should be voluntarily. Like not
out of 10, what is the percentage? What is the figure for a man to provide in that family?
out of 10.
Yeah.
10 if the woman wants to do something well and good. If she doesn't, it's fine.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'll throw this question then
I
out
have not
to.
said the role of a woman.
Okay.
Yeah. So in all these 4 P's we've talked about, protect, proceed, penetrate, and provide, we only have one role of a woman. They only have one S: to submit. I guess that's the role.
Submit to the man who has the 4 P's and who is fulfilling the 4 P's.
Yep.
MC the Chinaman. What is the role of a woman or a feminine woman who is dealing with a masculine man? Assume this is an intimate relationship.
No, I think I said I will keep going around the definition that you said.
Yes.
And I will insist particularly on purpose. Purpose is a driving force, and every driving force needs fuel. This is just the vessel, but what is the fuel? And then you need a very supportive woman, whether it is that you call your wife or girlfriend, to understand that at times your purpose will set a distance between you and them. because you're chasing something that will be more supreme than even your time in that relationship.
So you're saying your purpose is bigger than the woman
Exactly.
all the time.
Not, of course, yes, because I mean, if you lose the purpose and keep it here,
You lose the woman.
you'll just, you keep it here and lose it here. You know, so I mean, we need a very supportive person who can help grow this purpose. So our key roles is to support. And what is support? One, when it is not going right, always reaffirm the man that it's going to be well. It's going to come out perfectly well even despite the itches. Two, give peace of mind. Don't demand too much than can be given now. Because a purpose needs an environment that it can thrive in. If you put too much pressure on the balloon, it will burst. So this purpose is driving this man to stardom. But you putting more pressure that is pulling them back, they're not going to reach the stardom. So these are the simple things women must do in men's life for men to be them. But then most importantly, even as men want that, they must show by all means possible that it is not a wrong purpose. It is not wrong energy in the name of masculinity. So we stick to order, we stick to purpose, and as even with chess, we ask of women to continue reaffirming us, continue supporting us, and where necessary, even throw in the extra weight to show the man the ability to deliver and to achieve and to realize.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Interesting. I want to bring Lillian into this conversation. What does masculinity say about career women? You know, because nowadays we are talking about a generation of independence. You know, people want to be independent. They want to depend on their own pockets. We have had instances where men are, you know, instead of being responsible men, they, you know, leave their responsibilities and then, you know, leave their women with everything. You know, a man has impregnated a young woman and, you know, they deny such, and then they leave all this to the woman. So what does masculinity say about career women and independent women, and I can even dare say feminism? What does, you know, your belief in masculinity say about all this? And I know Lillian will contribute into this conversation because it is important for all of us. Alex.
Do you want to go first?
I think I want to go first because now we're talking about career women. We're only talking about such a tagline because of what our societies have socialized us to be.
Yeah.
At times, and most often, masculinity is confused for patriarchy.
Yeah.
Where patriarchy is a system that locks out for women from thriving, particularly women. So if you do not proceed to be man or to be masculine, quote unquote, because I already talked about patriarchy, you do not get opportunities in certain spaces.
Yeah.
And this is what has given light to the rise of feminism, so that we can fight for an equal space for both men and women. This has given rise for career women who say that as men are chasing their purpose, as men are maintaining order in their lives, what is happening to our own lives? Am I seated at home supporting a man to grow, and when they grow, they get into another woman and forget me who's even supported them from the foundation to even finishing, and now they're forgetting that. So masculinity in itself, like we've already said, has contributed to men being pragmatic in understanding that these will follow these and the other will follow the other. And now women do not want to feel out of space. So they're even challenging themselves now, and that is perhaps why you can see them wanting to go into careers, wanting to become something. But now the danger is, some of them want to presume that now because they've become, what is this word here?
Financially stable.
Yeah, not necessarily financially stable, but accomplished. Yeah, better word. Accomplished and independent. They don't want anything to do with men. And I think that is what is being referred to as career women, isn't it? Isn't it, Derek?
In most instances.
In most instances.
Yeah.
So you see, then it becomes a very confusing thing that it is for the greater good of masculinity here to challenge women to even want to occupy spaces and become better of themselves, so that when masculine men want them to be supporters of their purpose, then they are able to do that both by human resource and material support. You know?
Yeah. Alex, what does masculinity say about career women?
So for me, I sort of agree with my brother, but to some extent I feel career women are being pushed to cherish their careers. You know, you need to like maybe climb the ladder, ensure that you're maybe the CEO by this time. And what we are forgetting in most instances is they get to like lose a lot of time in their careers. Maybe they don't want to get a kid because some of the companies, we understand, they don't want you to go maybe for this holiday, and that's also shitty. So you're spending a lot of your time, a lot of your quality time, because as men we are born with nothing and we keep on accumulating stuff as we grow older. As women, it's like they're born with everything, and the world is trying to steal from them every time, every day. So your value yesterday as a man, tomorrow it has increased. And this one is sort of kind of crazy, but a woman's value when she was 21 is not the same when she's 29. We know that. So for instance,
what are we
based
using
on
to measure this value?
Based on not the value in terms of let me be like clear, in terms of someone,
is it sexual market value or
market value? Someone wanting to settle down with you, you know, and maybe starting a family, they will always look at 21s, 22, 23, 24 there. And
so is it because of perception? I'm actually this 29-year-old is valueless.
It's actually because let me just be straight with you. You have maybe overstayed your welcome in the dating scene, and people have different perceptions, and life doesn't revolve around my perception of things. But someone who's 29, maybe if they got a chance to be courted or lured by different men in the dating field, they've been lured a lot, and also maybe just something is wrong with this person. Unaona, unafika 29 aje una mse, unaona.
What is wrong with them?
I don't know. They should
What
tell
could be wrong with them?
Depends. It depends, because I want to make an analogy based on my perceptions. Niseme tu, this is what is wrong with them. Kuna a lot of issues, and maybe we'll dive into that with the following questions. But I just feel a career is pushing women to waste a lot of time. We are not saying it's bad.
The question
but
is,
we need to
waste time on what?
Waste time on companies. Like you just build
like they waste
But
time.
you see, you have to understand what is priority to you might not be priority to this.
Yeah, and I say life doesn't revolve around my opinions.
Yeah,
that is a,
which is true.
Yeah.
When you say, for example, if I'm in school, if my teacher says I'm wasting time, it means I am running away from books.
Yeah.
From studying.
Mm-hmm.
If we say career women are wasting time, they're wasting time over what? At the expense of what?
At the expense of family. They're choosing career over family.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, it reaches a time where, as a woman, also we are saying this with a lot of how can I say this? As in a lot of happiness and also guidance, so that if you're in this age, kindly try and reassess your life and look at the straight path that you're heading. Because if you waste a lot of time, maybe your early 20s or late 20s in companies and you're in 30s, hakuna mtu anataka kusettle na wewe, it's because maybe you had unrealistic expectations of someone, or maybe you just didn't have time.
You're busy with the goals, personal goals.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
But also varies. I don't know if I answered your
Lillian.
question. So.
Before Lillian comes in, and I think I'm going to sit here to be the reason why we must not discriminate women from exactly what they want to become.
Yeah.
You see, what he's saying is perfectly in order, but in the context of patriarchy and not masculinity. And I will insist, it is only patriarchy which says that a woman must be married by this time. Masculinity does not say that. Masculinity says that men must be this by this time. It has everything selfish about men and nothing about women. So if, for example, feminism, which I want to presume should be the other side of masculinity, says women must also be this by this time, then that is a question on the other court. But on our court, we are saying, as a man who wants to accomplish A, B, C, and D, you must try to accomplish that by this. And one of the such things will be settle in a family. So if you want to settle in a family as a man because of your masculineness by, say, 25 years old, and you want to marry someone that, like he said, can submit to you, can support you, can encourage you, can reaffirm you, can create an environment that is conducive for you to become exactly what you want to become, then this person, if in your checklist must be younger than you, you would be looking at the 21-year-old he's talking about.
Does masculinity talk about age?
Not at all. So I just put the context of age here for me, so that it is understood that if you've chased your purpose and you've achieved it by 25 and you're good to settle in a family because that is the standard you've put for yourself, you're good to go. If you're not there, nobody should put pressure on you to fit in. Put pressure on yourself, but in line to the purpose of being a masculine man. I do not want us to leave this podcast going out there and saying that woman is focused so much on their career that they forgot they wanted to go into family.
What if they don't want to?
Yeah, exactly. That is the question here. What if they don't want to?
Can I say something? Also, I believe we have different opinions in everything, and I accept my brother has a different opinion when it comes to age. And also saying that maybe you're 25, you want to marry someone, and like for instance, we understand women kind of, sort of, for lack of a better word, mature faster than men, mostly say that way. So if you're 25 and you're picking someone who's 25, who will be having power struggles and issues, and also it will result to a lot of chaos. So you cannot lead someone who you're in the same maybe capabilities with, or maybe in terms of age or maybe other stuff. So I believe age counts and it matters, and you as a man, you also need to start thinking about maybe starting a family as soon as possible, because these are what I believe in. We cannot say that we're putting pressure on women and not on men, because the real thing is we have to be realistic, as we have in this podcast. You're a woman in your 29, we understand the sexual value of this lady compared to someone who's 19 is some sort of maybe not that great compared to that person who's younger. We understand that, and this is what we are saying. We are coming to the table not with lies, but with facts and whatever is happening, and we are not afraid to speak about whatever is in equal grounds. And so I believe that age counts everywhere, and you just need to ensure that you also don't get left out. You don't marry too early, you do not marry too late, you don't get to be married too early, and you also don't get to be married too late. I guess I'll leave it at that.
Lillian, I know you have words to say, but
no, I don't, because I feel like if I start, we'll never end this podcast.
It is important they are addressed.
However, for me, I would really want to focus on the mental health aspect of masculinity, because here we are mostly about mental health.
Yeah.
And I would like for you guys to say, okay, whatever theories and perceptions of what you believe masculinity is, what is your take on masculinity and mental health? What does it say? Does it say, is it the typical be a man, don't be vulnerable, don't express your feelings? Or is it more open to allowing men to experience life like human beings?
I think I'll go first so that I can just pick it from where I left it, because he mentioned something to do with age, and I want to tie masculinity, mental health, and age to certain things here, and especially on mental health. One, If masculinity tells you that you must have achieved a flourishing career by 20 something, let us put an age to it. Alex, give it an age. Give it any age.
I'm not giving it an age.
No, just throw it. Throw any number.
15.
No, make it over 20. Just throw any.
22.
Exactly. So if it says by 22 you must have achieved, and you've not achieved by 22, you start to have stress. You start to be worried if you're ever going to achieve anything, and you start to even feel left out, and that contributes to you becoming mentally ill, because every other time you feel like you're the odd one out. Why is it that Derek has accomplished by 22 and I have not? Because that is a standard if we're going to tie masculinity and, of course, like we've kept saying, purpose and growth to age too. But like I said before, you can keep chasing your purpose even at very late age. And I would want us to even throw examples. Let us use, for example, United States of America President Joe Biden. Joe Biden ascended to presidency at 84. So if Obama, who ascended to presidency at about 49 or 50, was to be the standard of masculinity for presidency, for example, Joe Biden will be out of order to continue chasing that purpose. Let us look for people like many others, but there are other people who've done very good discoveries. Who is this person of McDonald's or something?
Yeah.
Their franchise came in at a very old age. They were 89. So if the standard was 22, they would already be dead by 40 because of the pressure of wanting to have accomplished by some age which they never did. So it would affect even their productivity and their progress. So what am I saying? I am saying for me that if you understand that as a man, your purpose is to create an empire for yourself, you continue chasing the empire and not time. Of course, time is important because you will always give yourself some limitation and say, I am trying to build my mom a house in the next 3 years. So that after 3 years, you're checking or looking back and say, did I accomplish that? If not, what did I do wrong? If you want to build a business, I'm starting this business, I want it to be profitable in 2 years. So you're investing your energy, you're investing your time, you're investing resources to see that you're profitable in 2 years. If you're not profitable in 2 years, what went wrong? So masculinity then keeps the sense of purpose, keeps the drive that I want to accomplish. So this again will not remind you that you're running late. It will remind you that you're closer if you put in more energy, more commitment. So for mental health then, it is important to not tie your plans to time only, but tie them to the goal. So the goal is achieve that. So whether you achieve it in 10 years or 20 years, make sure you achieve it. You would have won as a masculine.
Yeah.
That is very true. Just picking the conversation from whatever you've left, I did not say that you're supposed to leave your goals after this time. I just want it to be so clear. And also, we have how can I say this, limit of you're supposed to do this by this time. You're supposed to be, for example, circumcised by this time. We are Africans, we understand that this is the benefit of this. So setting a limit will ensure that you push further, for example, as a man. And also to answer your question about masculinity and mental health, I believe we have a lot of ways that masculinity champions for the mental wellness of individuals. For instance, I traveled back to Homa Bay, where I'm from, over the weekend, last weekend, and I had a really good amount of time just chatting and getting updates from my grandpa. And he said, as a man, you need friends who are masculine. You need friends you can always count on. You can call them at 4 a.m. and they will show up. Because you never know what can happen. And you will always rely on your masculine friends to sort of bring structure when things are in shambles in your life. And these are people you are really vulnerable with. You can share your most vulnerable moments, and you can get clarity, and also you can get advice when you're seeking advice. So we believe as masculine men that we tell you not to cry in public, because there's a certain way a man is supposed to like go around and be seen. And you, by the way, for example, this is a very good example. For example, we are flying and I'm the pilot, and I notice something is wrong, and I come back to you guys crying, and I'm saying that this thing is wrong and I don't know what will happen. What do you think the passengers will feel like? They'll know that they're dead. So if you're the pilot and you understand that this thing is wrong, you go back and you tell them something is wrong, we're working on fixing it, and as soon as we fix it, we will let you guys know. This is the new way, or rather the way that is supposed to be followed with a lot of guys who are going through issues, and maybe they have family or they are leaders. If the CEO comes crying, we did not get that contract, you guys don't have money for your next maybe 6 months.
So it's about the frame, it's about security.
Yeah, it's about the frame, security, protection, and also the mood of those guys who are leading, because we believe every man is leading their lives and also maybe the lives of other people, maybe their women, children, and a lot of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
MCA, the China one.
Yes.
You did not talk about, he has mentioned about masculine men being vulnerable, but only to a group of masculine men. What's your view about, men letting out their sorrows, their disappointments, and their mental health as a general?
So, I already mentioned earlier in this conversation,
Mm-hmm.
and because you brought in women in this conversation, and asked what is the role of women, in promoting or improving a masculine man, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, and I even say, if you're able to get a woman that reaffirms you, a woman that creates an environment for you, that
Environment
is
to do what?
to thrive, and to feel comfortable in yourself, and one that equally supports you by all forms. This is a woman that you're sure that even letting go of tears before them does not lower your frame, keeps your frame there. Look here, I'm not saying you must do that, but I'm saying if you found that person, it is very difficult to find these people.
It is difficult.
It is very difficult because we've just mentioned here.
It is impossible.
For the record, everyone is hard to be found.
Exactly. We just said it here. If you let it here, she will let you go. So again, if you go that low, she will let you go.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, I agree with him that in the company of fellow masculine men, cry, but in the presence of them, no.
Whatever is interesting is my brother saying that you are allowed to cry, because Mimi Saizi, it's around 30 years I've seen my pops with my mom. They've been dating for 30 years, and
Married for 30 years.
Married.
You've seen them for 30 years and 24 years.
Yeah. I have pictures. So I have never ever seen my dad cry.
And you think that's a good thing?
That is a good thing. My dad keeps around friends that he really believes they are sort of helpful, and in case of anything,
Goes and cries there.
yeah, maybe he goes and cries there, but I've never seen him cry. But I just believe keeping a company of men that you trust, and you know that in case of anything they won't go and maybe snitch and say maybe Derek was left by the girlfriend, or the wife left, or the wife maybe took some money, or Derek Sijui lost the contract. So we just have to find those men first, and you will find those men when you're masculine too, because you cannot really keep masculine friends and you're a simp, you're a soy boy.
What are we talking about? Before you ask, what are we talking about? Should we bring in the picture of women, or should we keep it?
We have maintained that masculinity and their health, and some of the things we have heard about masculinity that I think I'll later ask once Leon is is through with this question, we want to know more about how masculine men handle their issues relating to mental health.
Exactly. That is why I needed that to be very clear.
Mhm.
So I say what I'm about to say. Masculinity does not remove you from being a human being who is an emotional being. Masculinity has nothing to do with you being an emotional being. Patriarchy does. And I will keep referring to this. Patriarchy has trained men not to cry. Masculinity did not tell men not to do that. Masculinity tells men to be strong. So you can feel disturbed, but you have to outgrow it because...
So you can cry and wipe the tears and move on.
Exactly, because that is what being strong is. That is what should be masculinity, not patriarchy. Patriarchy says no matter the situation, a man cannot cry. A man should not show he's going down,
Yeah.
But patriarchy says, masculinity says you have the strength, you have the power to bounce back. You have the power to outshine any situation. You have the power to be better.
Yeah.
Which is to mean then, masculinity appreciates that there are times you will feel low. And what happens if you feel low? Is it illegal to cry? For your sake, for your own health, do it, but do it honorably. That is the thing. Do it honorably.
Yeah.
I guess
I think he answered my
this is
question.
where
I wanted to ask,
This is
before
where-
you disagree,
Uh,
I wanted to ask, because I've heard you say, all the three of you are agreeing, don't cry in front of women.
The
Is
two or
it-
the three of us?
You made sounds to show you are in
No, I didn't. I am a host, so
So, you just let me ask my question. It sounded like the reason why you all are not vulnerable to women, it's because women are not quote unquote supportive, or they're not people you can be vulnerable with. But based on what he's saying, it almost sounds like you not being vulnerable or not accepting to be vulnerable are you guys' situation and nothing to do with women. Is it?
yeah, it's nothing to do with women.
So it's not because a woman will use it against you.
Sort of, they will use it against you, but it's nothing. We are not doing it because maybe you will use it against
So even though they would not use it against you,
you still won't.
If this part, oh, okay, that's what I wanted to know.
Yeah,
So it's not them, it's you.
yeah.
Okay.
No. I think clearly, and you're asking something, but I want it to be very clear.
Uh-huh.
Please just repeat and make it very clear what reference you're making to look in the women here.
So he said we're discussing masculinity, but you see, masculinity doesn't exist in a vacuum.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why women will be mentioned from time to time.
Yes.
So there's something he said. There was something about crying and whether women should cry in front of women or they should cry with fellow masculine men. And all of you agreed. And the end of that conversation, I remember, sounded like it's because women can't allow, like they will go or something like that. So I wanted to know this not being vulnerable, because even us in feminine spaces right now we are encouraging, because we want to, as we're talking about mental health, we also have to accept the way Alex talks about facts. Suicide cases rate are more among men.
Yeah.
And even us as feminine counterparts, because we don't also exist in vacuums, we would like to know how to support better. And that's what I wanted to know. Is it because women, you guys are not being vulnerable to women because women are the issue? It's the way you guys are wired to think a man shouldn't be or he should be.
And that is why I brought in the whole conversation tied to patriarchy.
Yeah, and that's why I started this thing by saying what I feel like you've answered my question.
Exactly.
But I asked it anyway.
So I wanted it to be very clear even to him, Alex here, so that it shouldn't look as though it is about women. This is about socialization. And both men and women, masculine and feminine here, have been brought up in patriarchal societies. Patriarchy said that men must never cry before women. That is a patriarchal notion. patriarchy says a man should not be at home while the wife has left to go work. That is patriarchy, you know. So when he says you should not be vulnerable, that is because of that socialization. And it is in so because these women will feel as though you've lost your macho, your manhood, yeah? Your man ability, and that is why you're crying in their company. So what I'm encouraging is, even as we promote masculinity, because I'm a big promoter of this thing, and I really love to see masculine people who can dare to challenge even when they know, like, they're not going to win. I mean, I'm running in elections. I'm not saying I'm not winning, but I know there are two ways.
Yeah.
It's either you win or lose.
Yeah.
But you dare to challenge because you feel like you have a niche in it. You know, men who are there not to judge themselves harshly, but to encourage themselves for better. So that is what we should be promoting, not to promote masculinity in such a way that it looks we are fighting women, we are discouraging the progress of women. If women have a way of helping masculinity thrive even better, they're welcome.
Yeah, and also I love the fact that you brought in the aspect of challenging the status quo in just ensuring that you push yourself further to achieve your goals. And if anyone is listening to this podcast and you're coming from Kibera Lindi, I believe you've seen the views, or rather had the views, and we have a good leader here. Now back to the question that you said, I believe to some extent we are misquoting patriarchy, and also this will be, I've tried to run away from this discussion, but I believe we are here because we are saying masculinity and patriarchy, and maybe people are not understanding exactly what we are bringing forward, because the issue of crying, number one, my good brothers say that it's patriarchy that has taught us not to cry in front of women, and masculinity encourages you to let it out. Of course, I said you can let it out, but you crying, I believe we cry when we feel we cannot do anything about it. For example, you're in high school and this boy comes and maybe takes your plate or your spoon, and you know you can really beat the kid, or you can beat the shit out of that kid. Will you cry? You won't. You will beat that kid and take your spoon back. And I'm not advocating for violence, it's an example. But in this case, this guy, you know you cannot in any position be able to actually take your plate back. You cannot even struggle, you will cry. We resort to crying as our last human, how can I say this, nature of when we cannot do anything. If we are sure we can do something, we don't cry about it. I lost that job, then I will try and figure out how to get another one. That is what we resort to do as men. And you going back and crying, it's like you lost that job, then you do not have any plan, or you do not know any other way.
Does crying mean it's the end of the world? I don't like, okay. Crying is just an emotion that is expressed. The same way you laugh is the same way you be able to cry. So why are we putting crying like this thing? Ni kama nguo ya Christmas, enye tunatoka siku ya Christmas peke yake. But it's just an emotion. You can still cry and still go back and look for that job.
From what I'm getting from him, maybe he can help us, is that yes, a man is emotional, but logic should be more than being emotional.
Logic. So when we're talking about logic, we mean we're promoting suppression here.
It is not.
According to
this is what according to what she is saying.
Yeah, you suppress.
What I believe,
I believe we
should be more logical than emotional, because to some extent we're supposed to make decisions that we want love to. For example, a good friend found out that I'm not supposed to say this now. This is where
let's call him Clarence.
But either way, maybe for the better of the society, maybe you find someone who is not doing something correctly, and you're in a position to make it right. But because you have different or rather good relationship with this person, let's say for example they are maybe doing cocaine in a school and you're the president and it's your friend, emotionally, you'll say that you won't report this person because they're your friend. And we understand that this is not right. And logically, you're supposed to report them because as much as they stay in the school, they will keep on recruiting other people. And for the better of the society, we are supposed to take away things that are not okay or people who are not okay. So as a masculine man, you're supposed to always make sure that you make your decisions based on logic and not emotion.
Well, I think otherwise. We are human beings and we have emotions. We can't wish them away. So whatever you do, you have to find a way to always create a balance between your logos and ethos. So I know we are pro logic, but emotions doesn't exactly mean that you are making a wrong decision. You can process your emotions, you can make decisions based on informed, processed emotions. So I think this idea that, or the notion that we should always make decisions based on our logic, is the narrative that is promoting suppression of emotions and leading to a lot of mental health issues, because we are not taking time to acknowledge our emotions, we're not taking time to process them, and we're not taking time to understand what is going on with our emotional health, because we are focused on our logic a lot of times. So for me, I think whether you're a man, woman, or anything in between, it's important to strike a balance between being in touch with your emotions and making decisions based on logic.
I agree.
There is this question relating to self-care. Mwanaume hafai kuwa na duvet, mwanaume hafai kuwa na sabuni,
Mwanaume hafai kujipaka mafuta.
Mwanaume hafai kujipaka mafuta. And sometimes we may merely post this on status or share it across all social media platforms, but there are people who take it literally, So I want to understand, maybe from your views, what is the position of self-care in masculinity?
Unaoga mara ngapi?
Ati unaoga once in a year,
Yeah,
cleanliness.
I think the only problem with us Kenyans, not necessarily Kenyans, but people of some certain social class, is we take things so literally. Yeah. And so because that is exactly what a person of my exposure I want people to easily understand, is how I will say it. I mean, for example, how long does one spend in the bathroom?
2 minutes, 3.
A very short time, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sorry to use this example of women, but it is presumed that women take longer.
Yeah.
Masculinity here wants men to always have enough time to do things for themselves. Do things to better their lives.
So self-care is not part of bettering.
Let me finish this and then I will come into the exact context of self-care. So, for example, if we're using the standard time of taking a shower as the standard time of women who take about 15 minutes, a man would want to presume 15 minutes is too long to be showering. So 5 minutes and you're gone. That is why watasema tu literally, mwanaume hafai kuoga bwana. So if you take it so literally, hufai kuoga, then you're there for 30 days with hufai kuoga. I think you have a very serious problem. You should even be looked if you are a man enough. Because a man, we are saying, how are you going to chase for good life when you're not presentable? When you cannot present yourself before people and feel groomed enough to be comfortable to even express yourself. So what I am saying is, self-care is very important, because self-love equates to building more sense in the purpose that you have in your own life. They say every day that before you leave the house, ensure you spread the bed. Because even if you go out there and the world is too tough, you will have already accomplished the first task in the day. And that is exactly what being a man is. Wake up, tidy up, ensure you've left the house in good order. Go out there, give your best shot. Come back, celebrate the little wins, and plan for more. So it feels very bad to come out from a very frustrated day, and the house is itself very frustrating because you were told, do not spread, do not wash utensils every day, you don't need a duvet, so you're sleeping in Masai Shukas, very cold.
Masai Shukas is too fancy.
No, I am saying it's just something to just cover you up.
Yeah.
And I mean that is very cold. You're not even likely to wake up in the next day with the energy required.
Yeah.
You don't have a new mattress, so you wake up the next morning with pains everywhere and you want to be productive in the next day. It becomes very bad. So I am saying, men who love themselves, men who love order, will take care of their personal health. And they will do this by sparing time for leisure, sparing time for important events in their lives, including their birthdays for those who remember.
Yes.
They might never throw a big party, but spare time for your birthday.
Very important.
And go out, buy yourself a steak of chicken, bite it, and tell yourself happy birthday. You don't need company for such a thing. But I mean, that alone continues to give you the sense of being a man. But I remember, I am a man, I have a life, I need energy to continue going. You will do everything humanly possible to protect that energy.
Amazing.
He's mentioned something about acknowledging birthdays, and I want to ask a question around men and appreciation. I don't know how you're the men here, you will tell me. Sometimes it's meant to look like all men do is give, and they're never appreciated. And I wanted to know, like, what does masculinity say about men being appreciated?
How many socks have you bought, Alex?
Never bought any socks.
Socks too much.
Do I first reply on whatever you asked on self-care and
Yeah,
masculinity?
sure.
Okay, I also sort of agree with not sort of, I totally agree that it's supposed to be presentable, and masculinity like propels you to always be in a position to solve mysteries, solve challenges, solve problems, and also create value in the world. Now, when you wake up and you spread your bed, you have already won your first challenge. You hit you go to your bathroom or to wherever you take your shower. You take a cold shower, and I'll be
It has to be cold.
intentional about it. You take a cold shower. According to me, you take a cold shower, and no matter the month, hata kama ni June, I understand. They know me. They know I do not take warm showers. Hot showers. Just cold. Now that you have won your second challenge, because sort of
Alex, that cold shower, is it for a specific reason? I mean, is it because masculinity?
for a lot of reasons.
Okay.
Yeah, but we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
Also, you have won your second. You go back to your house, you dress properly, and now you really maybe properly doesn't mean an expensive suit or maybe expensive shoes. You just clean up nice and you're looking good. You're not smelling nice. You see, if you have a cologne, eka yo cologne. Kama uko na inaitwa body splash, piga body splash yako. If you have everything that uko nayo, now you're going to face the world, and you need to be in total control and understand that place nasimama hapa sinuki jasho, so utakuwa confident enough to express yourself, as my brother said. So I believe self-care is really important when it comes to masculinity, and you have to like abide by it. Kama wewe ni mtu wa kushave, clean shave. Kama wewe ni mtu wa ku cut, make sure you get the cut nice, and kila kitu iko fiti. Now to the second question about appreciation. Now this I'll speak from my individual perspective. I believe as a man, my brothers say that you can even post your birthday and stuff, but as for me, it's not a big deal for me, my birthday. So birthday imefika, then what? Why am I celebrating? Am I celebrating because I'm closer to death or something?
That is according to Alex, now not masculinity.
No masculinity, according to me.
But see, it's just sometimes, see, we're just celebrating life.
Just celebrate life, but we are putting a lot of pressure on birthdays and Nikolai. What is happening?
Yeah,
So
I get it, but it doesn't mean now you don't celebrate it at all. It's a milestone. You are adding a new year.
Maybe,
That
but
should mean something.
to the appreciation part, I believe men give more, honestly, and in terms of being
They
appreciated.
give more in terms of what?
In terms of maybe provision of
So materially.
Okay. And I believe we've been getting a lot of G socks and boxers, but who said we are sad? We are not sad, we are actually happy, because if that is the farthest they can go, we appreciate that, because we are also okay if we are not given anything.
So let me
It's
ask
not
you
that
a
we are
question.
giving.
So is this giving? Is
We are not giving so that we can receive.
Okay, I get it. Is in relationships, is what is given materially the only important thing?
No, it's not.
Okay.
Let us not run away from the reality. Human beings are transactional, and material is very important. Trust me. But now you ask something about say that word, appreciation.
Yeah.
Men never ask women what they want on their birthday,
Yeah.
and even if they do, they just doing a cross check for
To see whatever you want to
exactly
do
is in line.
Yeah.
Why is it so that every time men need to be asked what can be done to them? Throw anything and see if they will be comfortable. I don't think any man will not be comfortable.
You see?
The whole thing about gifting is the recipient shouldn't be deciding. If they are deciding, they will equally get it for themselves. But you're bringing it to them.
Okay, Sarah. So Chinaman, when I was asking about appreciation, it wasn't necessarily just about material things. It was even about compliments. Because we rarely see men receive those kind of things. And I wanted to get, like, apart from the boxers, because for me, I believe giving in relationships, I believe my man can give me more than material things. So for me, I wanted to know what do you guys feel about appreciation generally, just not just material appreciation, even emotional appreciation or otherwise appreciation.
There could not be enough time for all that. Yeah. There could not be enough time for all that, unfortunately. I think this is now the point where I get more masculine and say the factor of time. I have enough things on my table to be chasing than to be listening to a lot of these compliments. You look nice, or
also they should not.
I don't mean they should not. If they come, okay.
It doesn't carry much weight.
But it doesn't carry weight. The purpose is here. I am chasing it, and that is what matters. If you actually told me, for example, keep going, I will feel much better than reminding me on my birthday.
So keep going means a lot. Let's move away from the birthday. Keep going means a lot than you did well.
Also, it carries some weight, because
Exactly.
you as much as people are really confident about their dreams and they understand that this is where we are going, we have the perfect plan. Just reassuring the person that you have conquered this, you will conquer this other. But in terms of maybe compliment,
Congratulations.
So well done, congratulations. We don't do that.
like just
Throw it
something
out
that will
of comfort
push,
zone.
will push you
Oh.
to get to get out of your comfort zone and chase the dream, whatever we want. But also, we are not denying that, for instance, once in a while you get a really
Like once
good,
in 5 years.
Once in, no, like
52
actually this is every day. You need to
Like
be well fed. You see, for example, maybe if it's your wife, anakupikia vizuri, like you're really nice, you're looking nice, anajua place nguo zako ziko and all that, unaona. So as much as a lot of people do not agree with this is what me and how I term masculinity and whatever masculinity is pushing men to, because we want to like go out there and get the bag for the family. We want to go there and be in a position to provide not only for maybe our family and also maybe to exceed the boundaries and help other people.
Yeah.
And in order for us to do that, we are supposed to worry about the bigger challenges and not where is my socks, what will I eat. As much as maybe you can have a girlfriend.
So in a house where, for example, the man is not chasing the big bag, should now the roles be reversed and now the woman is the one who shouldn't worry about where's my bra?
What is the man doing if he's not chasing?
I don't know, maybe he lost his job, maybe he's in a season where the woman is the one that is bringing the bag.
You're trying to trap me.
I'm not trapping you, I'm just asking a question.
You see, okay, that question, I do not have a lot of, how can I say this? A lot of facts or ideas or a lot of insight into the situation so that I can reply to you in a concrete manner.
No, it's just a situation, Alex. Me and you are dating. Then you're the one who has been supporting the family largely financially. Sawa. Then you're in a season where, let's say you're a business person, then COVID happens, then your business is not doing too well. Say I am an employer of the government, and me, my salary is still just coming. So I'm the one who's supporting the family. But now you said that now because the man is the one chasing the bag, he shouldn't have to worry about small things. Now in this situation, am I going to be exempted about worrying about small things?
You see, I guess you're pushing me to define gender roles, and I was trying to keep the conversation masculine, but I'll just get there. So for example, let's take a pretty good example. We are sleeping with my wife, someone knocks the door, someone just tries to get in. Who is expected to wake up and go and face whatever is coming? Let's be real.
Whoever is most scared.
Let's be real. Who will go? Who is supposed to go? The man, Sindio. So we agree on that. Now, man, you guys are looking at me if someone breaks into your house and you have your wives and your kids there, your wife, who will go and protect them?
I agree with you because you say a masculine man protects the family.
Yeah, because you're supposed to protect your family. How will you allow people to kill your family na woli kimbia? Unakuja kusema ati tujui nani aliua. You're supposed to die the first one. And I believe that is the way it's supposed to be. So the fact that I'm supposed to be out here dying in case someone maybe smacks your ass across the street, we are the same people who will fight and maybe get killed. Why is it when we reach to a moment where I'm supposed to be maybe well fed, and you're now saying that I do not conform to some gender roles? What's happening? There is a way that nature rules us, and as much as I'm supposed to be doing this and this, and women, this is where the conversation kind of gets overboard. They want equal opportunities but not equal responsibilities. We understand that there are things that men will do. There are fights that solely men will have to fight. And when it gets to challenges or problems that have to be solved by women, solve them.
Like what?
Like hizo zenye nimesema.
So that's the equal responsibility that you're talking about? Not
equal responsibility per se, but just an example to showcase that.
Because I'm really looking for where that responsibility you're saying. Because if it's those roles, women have been doing them. The kutafuta socks, they've been doing them. So your equal responsibility that you're saying we don't want, which one is it?
You but here ita escalate the conversation.
Anyway, yeah, we need to wind up.
Wind up na tumeanza.
No, we need to wind up. You've said so much. I think we'll never exhaust this conversation on masculinity and mental health. Lily, I don't know if you have any other thing to add.
I don't, but I would like for the guests, because you see, from what I've picked from them, at the very least, there's an allowance for encouraging men to take care of their mental health.
Yeah.
Whether it's those masculinity safe spaces you're talking about, but either way, find a support system, a support group, or whatever. So I would like them to give a parting shot, but in that regard, really sticking to mental health and men.
So your parting shot on that.
I don't know how long a parting shot should take.
Yeah. It looks like 10 minutes.
What are you guys?
But most importantly, I know, I'll get there, is men love themselves, men take care of their mental health, and they do it in the most scariest of ways. The only problem is if women are in the life of these men, they want to limit the nature of adventure that these men can have. Now, let us separate that. Yeah.
No,
I
let's
want to keep it to men.
Let's discuss. Najua tunafanya part in short, but you said very interesting things. Men take care of their mental health in very risky whatever. What are these ways?
You'd easily find men doing skydiving.
Yeah, hitting the gym when something is wrong.
Exactly.
Punching the bag.
Exactly.
But that's a distraction. That's not
No,
really
like
the
if
issue.
you're in the gym and you're like, give me the gloves, and you know what? Something
Yes,
is
but
wrong,
after
and you
that,
need to,
the
like,
issue is still gonna be there.
No.
calm yourself.
That's a distraction, exactly. That's not dealing with
If
and that's why data says different.
No,
That's suicide rates.
I appreciate Lillian where you're coming from, the data point, and I think you're correct. But what I'm saying is, look at what I'm talking about. This is the nature of men. Men are just adventurers, and that is in light to taking care of themselves. If you hear men planning an expedition and hear the same being done by women, they're two very different expeditions. Men want to go to caves. Men want to go to where they can do mudslides. Men want all that is bringing joy to their lives and improving their mental health. But a cautious person seated on the line, on the side here, thinks that this is so risky for life. So men also do it with caution. We only think because that is what we know as the nature of such activities that men are just doing them carelessly. But then men do them out of caution. That aside, of importance is, even as accomplished as you will become as a man, if you do not take care of your health, and by health I mean both physical, spiritual, and emotional, you have no value living in that accomplished level. Because you'll always have a lot of problems to solve than good to enjoy the empire you've built. You're always worried, always stressed, always on surviving on pills, for depression and stuff like that. So of importance, keep a social cycle. Have people that you can talk to, have people that you can crack jokes, have people that can crack jokes and you laugh, have people that can take you out, and men and bottles. I don't know what bottles to refer to here now. Take two and please go home.
That is your own views, yeah.
Yeah, these are my own
Of
views.
course,
Yeah.
that's his own.
This is every other thing that has been said in this podcast is my own.
Purely
views.
a views.
Yeah, and I take personal responsibility.
Yeah.
Don't be young.
No, when I was saying your own, I was trying to drag you away from the term masculinity, people not to associate
Yes.
bottles
exactly.
and masculinity.
Exactly. But whatever bottles you want to take two and go home for your health as well. At the end of the day, you'll be more wired towards what masculinity wants you to become than being wasteful.
Okay. So for me, I just keep it very short. Number one, and also before that, I believe men have a lot of challenges either through finance and women, and we can categorically divide them into two. And as soon as you fix maybe your finances, we are not telling anyone to set unrealistic goals, because that is one of the issues that a lot of people face. You understand, maybe you're getting around 20,000 and you want to save $1 million by the end of the year. You cannot do that. So we want you to set realistic goals, have friends that you can always count on, that are masculine, and just third one is choose your woman properly, because they either build you or they destroy you. And maybe sometime later we can maybe get to talk about the women part, on how maybe to choose them, who to and who not to. But in the meantime, just ensure that you pick a quality woman who will be able to fuel you, who will be able to propel you to achieve your goals. Back to you, Derek, in studio.
Thank you so much. It has been a beautiful conversation. From my end, from my quarters, I don't have much to add on this conversation. I think much has been said by our amazing guest on masculinity, and I am sincerely honored for your honest opinion about this topic. Lillian.
Asante sana Derek, and thank you very much to our amazing guests for their insights. For me, you have heard from the men, but as a mental health advocate, I will always advocate for dealing with the issue. And I know you've heard about going to the gym, doing those risky things. Do them. If they will help you distract yourself, but after that the issue is still gonna be there. Go for therapy if you need to process and unpack some of these issues, because skydiving might not be able to solve a panic attack all the time. So do what you need to do. Go for therapy if you need to, and take care of your mental health. Prioritize your mental health as a man. It will help you to be more productive and to give more and to achieve more of what you want to achieve. Thank you very much.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.